Climbing into the coupe is like sliding into a little old sports car. Look at that. We got rudder pedals too.
Yes, we do.
Brilliant. Windows down and rolling. It's Wednesday, March 4th. We're going to go for a ride in James' Ercoupe today. He's going to chauffeur me down to McClellan Air Force Base, where we're going to check out the Aerial Firefighting Symposium 2020 down at McClellan Air Force Base today. If you want to see a cool channel about James and his Ercoupe, check out, what is it, James?
Ercoupe TV. Let me search for my name, James Good.
That's it, Ercoupe TV, and it's a good channel that shows that the average middle-aged guy can still afford to go flying, right, James?
That's right. It's fun.
And it's fun. See ya on Ercoupe TV. We got to go down to McClellan. Go show you what's going on down there today.
All right, seatbelts on one.
Right! You get the custom trailer that loads the system onto the back of the Conair. Here's the system in use. This is in Conair.
Yeah, we were.
And this is all footage from Canada.
Yeah, National Forest Canada. They came into the documentary and had big cameras out.
Wow.
Great footage.
That's high quality footage too.
Today.
It is. Wow. Welcome to part 2 of the biannual Aerial Firefighters Convention in Sacramento, California at the old McClellan Air Force Base. Today we're going to talk with Bryan Baker of CalFire and get an update on the CalFire C-130 program and their ongoing pilot recruitment program and pilot hiring minimums. We'll also talk to Jones of Neptune Aviation, and then we'll take a look at the vintage Conair air tanker footage that they brought to the convention. We'll save the maths for part 3. We're going to catch Bryan Baker. Bryan Baker's about 12 foot 14, so plenty of headspace in this shot. We're at CalFire's booth here. Going to get an update, real quick update from Bryan Baker. What's the latest on the C-130 program?
Latest on the C-130 program is that we are full steam ahead on training our flight crews. We're getting our initial attack instructor captains all set and ready to go. They're guys that have come from the S2, that have been flying the S2 and other airplanes for years as an initial attack captain, getting them cross-trained and differences training into the C-130 so that when our airplanes show up, hopefully sometime maybe middle summer of late 2021, that we will have full, complete complement of crews to go right into the airplane and go straight to work.
And that's with the new schedule that you're working out too?
Yes.
Excellent.
It was supposed to be early 2021, now we're looking at mid to late 2021.
And breaking news, the contract for the tank was just re-released, so it's approved. So who's got that contract?
Conair Aviation won the contract, so they'll be doing all the retardant delivery system construction and conversion of our H model C-130s.
Which you got from the Coast Guard.
U.S. Coast Guard, yeah.
So this means you're going to be cutting holes in them with Lockheed's engineering approvals and putting in these, hard mounting these tanks.
Yep, hard mounted permanent tanks that are gravity fed that will go in the airplane, much like Coulson's C-130s that they've operated for the last couple of years.
Gotcha. Your pilot training program that you talked about here at CalFire, you got a fleet of OB-10s, S2Ts, and now the C-130s. So you're going to take a guy off the streets, put him in the OB-10 first, right? And then from the OB-10 go to, if you want to go into the C-130 program, you're going to go into the right seat of the C-130.
Whatever floats your boat, whatever comes available first. It's all done obviously by a bidding process. Seniority. So if a C-130 position becomes available, you can move from the OB-10 into the C-130, fly that airplane for a couple of years, and then when a S2 initial attack captain trainee slot opens up in the S2, you go from the right seat of the Herc into the S2T, fly the S2T for a couple of years, and if you would like, you could stay there because that's an extremely fun airplane to fly and a great mission. But if you wanted to move from there back into the C-130, then that as soon as a position becomes available, you can move into the C-130. So
left seat of the C-130.
Yep, left seat of the C-130.
But you're not going to move into the left seat of the C-130 until you created that revolution of training.
Yeah, we want to do all of our initial attack training in the S2.
What's your min requirements? What are you looking for pilots to coming in the door, starting in the? You're going to start everybody in the OB10 if hiring off the streets?
Unless you have previous C-130 experience or already are coming to us with an initial attack card in another platform. If you have either one of those things, then there's going to be some hopping around. See, the issue we're dealing with now is that we need to build our corporate captain knowledge of the C-130 up to a respectable point at which we can just take regular co-pilots and put them in. Initially, we're probably going to be hiring some military trained C-130 pilots to put in the right seat, because they'll be the airplane and systems expert for the most part, along with the flight engineers, and then obviously the tactical operations and fire expert will be the CalFire Dyncorp S2 pilot that moved into the C-130.
So for young pilots looking to get into the firefighting business, what's some of the minimum requirements you're going to want to see on a resume before it comes across your desk?
Go to the California Fire Pilots Association webpage, CFPA. Just if you Google California Fire Pilots Association, a list of all the contract requirements are on there. Okay. It's the best way to do it. So if any of your viewers want to get a look at it, go right there and take a look. It's all listed right there. Because if I try to rattle them off right now, I'm probably going to get something wrong. So just go on there and look it up. And there's links to emails. And if you want to get somebody to get a hold of you or get a hold of any of the association members that are listed on there, if you've got any particular questions on getting involved in the program, because we're going to need a lot of people in the future.
Great. A lot of people.
All part of one of the big parts of this conference, as you saw, is that there's a huge pilot shortage. Exactly.
Plus the expanding schedule for pilots.
Yep, exactly.
Better quality of life.
Better quality of life, absolutely. It's going to be an awesome opportunity. And I mean, being a young guy that likes to fly airplanes and do tactical flying and not just haul passengers at 30,000 feet, this is the best deal going right now. So.
Excellent. Very good, Brian. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Juan. Appreciate it.
Go hook up with your friends.
Yep, we'll do.
All right.
Take care.
Get out of here. That's Brian Baker, CalFire, C-130 program. We'll go crawl around a C-130 as soon as I can get a chance to. Earlier in the day during the conference, I asked the Baker brothers from CalFire, what's the ideal pilot candidate look like for one of these CalFire air tanker jobs?
Being involved in training for the last 10 years, there's no one answer to go and get those guys. It's not all military tactical guys, it's not all ex-airline guys. It's the big thing is conviction. You have to want to do this job. You have to put in effort into it. You have to take it seriously, and at the end of the day, you have to want to do it. It's just one of those oddball left field jobs and industries that you have to want to do it. And we've all been looking for the magic answer to our staffing issues. And hey, we know that if we go and hire all these guys from FedEx 777 pilots, that they're, for some reason, those guys are all home run hitters and aren't going to struggle with any of this stuff. But I mean, we've got it's everything across the board. It's the 30-year-old male pilot that's been loading his own bags and loading his own cargo to NASA test pilots. It's all across the board. And for me, it comes down to conviction, wanting to do it.
Yeah, and for us, the biggest thing that we're looking for, I got to put around, is most in aviation, you become institutionalized from the day you get your first certificate onward. And everything we do in this environment is dynamic and towards the other edge of the envelope. And when you learn how to fly an airplane, they teach you how to stay in the middle of the envelope. For us, we need to be on the other end of the envelope and towards the edges to do this job safely and effectively. Because everything we do in this environment is what we're taught not to do. It's from private pilot on, they teach you not to, we take a max gross airplane in this environment, take a max gross airplane on a hot day, high density altitude, and fly 150 feet off the ground. And that takes a precision to do safely. We have to train precision pilots, so we're looking for something that's more single pilot IFR type stuff. So would call it. I like freight dogs, and that's the good term. That's what I look for. I'm looking at resumes. Somebody that can make decisions on their own and fly uninstitutionalized on the other edge of the envelope. And we've been successful with that. Military is great because there's the capability to learn. And learn at a high level. All military pilots achieve some form of high level, especially in the training environment. So that's That's been easy for us. There is no litmus test. There is no one size fits all for this, but there's no magic formula, like Bryan said. So the easiest thing for us to do is to try to find the best candidates that's going to make it easier for us to train them to be precision pilots. So that's about it. You got anything, Jack?
Air tanker flying involves sitting alert at the air attack base until 30 minutes prior to sunset every day. 6 days on, 1 day off was the traditional schedule. CalFire is leading the way to hiring enough pilots to develop a new schedule that can involve up to 5 days off in a row. And this works for most people except for my old friend Danny Johnson, the guy with the Grizzly Adams beard. Now let's check in with Neptune Aviation, which operates a fleet of BAE 146 aircraft out of Missoula, Montana, a federal air tanker contractor. Up next, Greg Jones, Neptune Aviation, out of Missoula, Montana. You guys know Neptune Aviation from being the operators of the P2V Neptune, which has been retired.
Correct.
And today you're operating a fleet of
BA 146s, 200s.
146s. These are the Avros, not to be confused with the RJs.
These are the BA 146s, not the Avro.
Not
RJ.
the Avros,
Yes,
okay.
not the Avros.
And what's the primary difference?
The primary difference of these are the engines and the avionics suite in the airplane. These are all basically analog aircraft versus electronics, EFIS-equipped RJs.
How big a fleet you got?
We have 9 BA 146s.
And the common theme here at the convention this year and for the past couple of years is pilot shortage, pilot retention. How are you guys doing for pilots? And
We're okay with pilots, but
Yeah.
pilots are, it's not only pilots, it's everybody in the industry. It's technical support, it's maintenance, it's everybody. And, everybody that I talk to that are looking for a good career path in aviation, not only pilots, but also the technical field, the maintenance side. Those people are needed, and there's going to be a larger need in the future for us. So everybody's tuned into that fact and trying to get creative in ways to develop their own people to make sure that there's a long-term viability.
tell us about, did you say you developed a tank for this?
We did. Neptune took over the tanking program on the 146 10 years ago. We started operating the 146 in 2010, and we went through a couple of iterations on it. As with anything with new technology, we put a lot of emphasis on next generation into this tanking system for this airplane. This isn't rehashed technology that you see on some of the other operational airplanes. This is new technology, drop system, computer gating systems and control on this airplane. And one of the features that we emphasized on this was a snapshot for, the goal is the quality of the product that comes on the ground. So we put a lot of emphasis on the design of how the retardant exits the airplane, how it's controlled. The major benefit to this airplane versus others on ours is the we call it active response. That once you push the drop button, the computer takes a snapshot of the airspeed and ties it to an algorithm for the maximum desired coverage level that was selected. Everything is controlled by flow rate, not by volume. So that's the key to our system.
Is that more than just gravity then working for you?
You can pressurize and drop pressurize, but you don't have to. We have the options of both. It's obviously an internal tank, and the gravity flow works just fine, but the key to it is flow rate. The bottom line is what you want is the best quality product on the ground for the people on the ground. And you don't want scallops, light spots. You want a good, consistent line. And I can show you on photos and stuff the quality of the retardants coming out of the airplane as it exits. You see a good, distinct, clean, triangular shaped pattern coming out. And that's what you want because it lays nicely on the ground.
How many gallons in the 146?
3,000 gallons.
3,000 gallons. Yeah, up to coverage level.
Coverage level 8. We have coverage level. The Forest Service IAB only qualifies to coverage level 8. There are some 10 and 12 coverage levels that have been achieved, but it's not actual approved criteria, so to speak. Everybody, the IAB is the controlling agency for the flow rates, and they only require coverage level 8. That's all that's published.
Very good.
Yeah.
Greg Jones, Neptune Aviation.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Greg.
All right. Good chat.
Yeah. Check out more from Neptune Aviation and possible employment opportunities on their website, neptuneaviation.com. By the way, Greg's a big Blanc Illyrio fan too. Finally, let's check out some of this vintage air tanker footage from Canada from Conair.
Cleaning out our hangar 2 to build this sim center. We found a box of old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we digitized it all and put this video together. It's awesome, man.
This is good stuff. Yeah, you don't see this floating around the internet
Well,
much.
it starts with the very
The old
beginning.
Stearmans, yeah.
So we flew right off the start.
Skyways out of BC.
Yep. And that became Conair in '69.
Conair, okay.
Yeah, so our history started.
TBMs.
Yeah. There's some fantastic TBM shots.
And this is all footage from Canada.
Yeah, National Film Board of Canada. They came and did a documentary on it and had big cameras mounted in the aircraft.
Wow.
Some great footage.
That's
Air-to-air
high
stuff.
quality footage too.
For the day.
Yeah.
It would have been in the 60s. Look at this camera mounted.
Yeah.
And there's a still of it. The camera's like this big. It isn't like this.
Yeah, it's not a little GoPro back in those days.
Look at that shot.
Wow. That looked like a T6 or something. Anyways.
They're all TBM. Up to
Yeah.
this point. Then it shifts. It just follows the history.
The history.
chronology, right? The next one is the
Are you using plywood tanks like we had here in California, or do you actually have metal tanks?
No, I think at this point they were metal. But
Here's
they
the
were,
826.
They opened, but they had to be closed manually.
Now look how low these guys are operating.
Yeah, and that's some ice enterprise stuff too.
Yeah. Now what are we modifying here? Fire S2. Okay. Yep.
That's the airplanes.
You know, you guys really mirrored the California
Yeah.
CDF program at the time.
And we even built the turbines version of it.
The turbine. Yeah. Did you use the Marsh?
No, PT6.
You had your own?
Pratt
Uh-huh.
Whitney. We sent
Look at
it
that.
to France.
DC4s or 6s? Yeah.
Yeah, we operated like 9 of those for a while. A 12-door tank or an 8-door tank. I mean, this is rare footage.
Yeah. What'd you say? A 12-door tank?
Yeah, we had a 12 and an 8.
All gravity.
Yep.
Oh, look at the spraying too.
Yeah, it was mosquito control and
Yeah.
that was Tussock Block in Vancouver.
Huh.
It's a Conair.
Yeah. There's the bird dog,
Yeah.
Aerostar.
Yep. There's a turbine there.
Uh-huh.
Conair 580.
Yeah,
This is
now
our
we're
new
getting. Wow, that's the newest one.
Yep.
Oh, we got to go talk to Mikey Lynn about that.
Yeah.
And this, you're Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff Berry from
Conair.
Conair.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that old footage.
You're with
The Union newspaper,
Nice.
and Blanc Illyrio YouTube channel.
Cool.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, we're happy to stop by.
So we learned a lot today at this year's biannual Aerial Firefighters Conference, and we'll get the information on the MAFs out in part 3, the final part of this series. And special thanks to friend and neighbor James Good for putting up with me as his obnoxious co-pilot in the Ercoupe. He did a great video of our flight down and back to McClellan on his channel, Ercoupe TV. Check it out in the links above and below. We'll see you here.
Oh, James, you missed a spot.